So this next item has been really, really big news. It's been reported pretty much everywhere, but this particular one from phys.org, new species of early human found in the Philippines.
Now, I just want to stop before you tell them what they found here, Avery. I just want to say this, and for all the young people here, you'll get these headlines in the newspapers. They found another ancestor to man. They found relatives of man. They found man's evolutionary cousins and so on. And this is just a typical example. It comes up all the time. But listen carefully, because Gabriella spent how many hours on reading the paper?
9 hours.
9 hours reading the paper.
On her weekend, so
on
thank
her
you.
weekend. So let's tell them what they found.
Okay, so this has been dubbed Homo luzonensis because it was found on the island of Luzon in the Philippines in a cave there. And what they found was, originally they found a little piece of a foot bone back in like 2007, I believe. And then they found, a little bit later, they found some finger bones and some toe bones, as well as 7 teeth. And based on this very fragmented collection of fossils, they're claiming this is another human relative. So based on their dating methods, which are full of assumptions, this lived about 50,000 years ago. So that puts it way too soon to be any kind of human ancestor, because modern humans are supposed to have evolved 200 to 300,000 years ago.
Million. 200
no,
to be 100.
anatomically modern humans, 200 to 300,000
Oh.
Yeah,
years ago.
the genus, the Homo.
Yeah.
Genus.
So it's not, they're not saying it's a human ancestor, they're saying it's a human relative. But you looked at, we have some pictures here of the fossils, and you really studied this paper, you studied what they were saying. What did you think about what you were looking at?
All Answers News, I was waiting for this moment. I love that paper.
Here it is. We need a trumpet.
You had so much fun researching this. Like, her face just lit up when she was, All right.
As I said, I spent 9 hours working on this paper, and I love it. Why I love it? Because it's just crazy.
That would drive me nuts. 9 hours reading a scientific paper about a few bones.
Paper.
Does anyone here get excited about that?
I wrote 5 pages about it.
She did.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is the whole paper talks about Australopithecus. This is how they say.
Australopithecus.
Yes.
I think Lucy is the most famous representative of that
and
genus.
then they say everything about the material that they found, the fossil that they found. It's pointing to Australopithecus. This is the Latin way to say the genus. I'm just trying to be fancy here.
Which is just an ape.
Yes, it's an ape.
Australopithecus is just an ape.
Yes.
Just an ape. And everything in the paper is talking about that genus, but now, and then they conclude that it's actually Homo species. Why?
Right.
They conclude it's human.
Yeah.
In fact, the sentence here says, an international team of researchers have uncovered the remains of a new species of human in this cave, and yet it's
Even
not
though
human.
the evidence points towards it being an Australopithecus.
Right, an ape, an ape.
Yes.
And they talk about the whole paper, like the whole paper, I think it's almost 40 pages with everything, like the paper and the supplementary material, almost 45 pages. And everything, all the fossils that they found, which is only like some teeth and some bones from the hands and the
which are curved.
And the
the
feet.
bones
Yes,
they found are curved, so
curved
clearly
too.
pointing towards an ape because they're curved, unlike ours, which are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have curved hands like that, I mean the curved bones, you know that they're ape
Yeah, they're
bones.
apes. They're apes because they needed that. They needed that feature because of being around trees and everything.
Right, yeah. Arboreal features.
They didn't actually date the material, the whole fossil. They didn't date that. They didn't do DNA. They don't explain why they didn't do any more research about it. But the whole point is, if they do any research about it, they're going to find out that it's actually an ape, not a human. So
Right.
one of the things that they say here at the newspaper, they say, the person that actually studied it says, the findings represent a major breakthrough in our understanding of human evolution across Southeast Asia. When you normally see papers like that saying that, oh, I found something amazing, normally you have to be very careful because there are a lot of things that are hidden and they don't really talk about that. So it's just an ape, but they're just trying to point as a Homo new species, a human new species, because it's going to make the whole the whole research more famous, you know.
If you find an ape, it's not exciting. If you find a human relative,
yes.
it's headlines,
Right.
it's new grants.
And
it's
they'll
a
get
really
more
big
money?
deal.
Is that the idea?
Oh yeah, they get more money, they get famous, so it's all of that. They want to kind of brag a little bit about.
And the problem with putting it as an Australopithecine also is, in their view, Australopithecus already went extinct.
Right.
So they're like,
2 million
well, it
years
can't be
ago.
that because it doesn't. So it's really, they're just taking their evolutionary worldview and they're interpreting the evidence through the light of their own worldview. And if you take
Yeah.
away the worldview-based interpretations, you have curved finger and curved toe bones, which clearly points towards an ape.
And then what you usually find is a little while later, some evolutionary experts will come in and say, well, these are just apes. And
Yeah.
then
And that
someone else will find another one that
Right.
they become famous for, and then they'll
They
get
just
their
move on.
funding. But this sort of stuff is presented as fact in our public schools and secular universities, and yet if you say you want to tell them that God created the ape kind and created the human kind, no, that's religion. But then they continue to teach all this sort of thing as fact, and
Yeah.
then they keep changing all the time too.
And even when I was checking this paper, I actually want to thank one of my friend, Tiago de Alencar. He's Brazilian, and he's a dentist, and I called him and I was like, hey, I need your help because I need to understand a little bit about it because I don't know anything about teeth. But he was explaining to me that also like because the method that they use here was like the shape and size of the teeth. But there's some syndromes that can change the shape and the size of your teeth. So they're trying to conclude something from a material that they don't even know if the person that had that had some syndrome or not. You know, so my friend who's a dentist kind of really helped me to kind of have that idea to just to, you know, to understand a little bit more about the paper and see that that actually if it's from actually ape, that would be not human at all. It would be an ape species. Yeah.
It's a species of ape, yeah.
So you need to rewrite their paper for them, Gabriella.
I already have 5 pages, so.
You're on your way. Yeah, so we have your blog coming out today. It's talking about this find, and there's some quotes from you in there, as well as some quotes from our anatomist who works here at Answers in Genesis, Dr. David Menton.
Yep.
So definitely check that out if you want
this
to
got
learn
a lot
more
of
about this
headline
find.
news, and it's been all over the news. So we'll have a blog on that today where people can read about it. We got time for one more, real quickly?
I think, yeah, we've got time for one more. Got a couple more pictures of the teeth and stuff here I forgot to show, but. All right, next one. New gender badges for children face criticism. So this is coming out of the UK, where children in certain school districts have been offered pronoun badges. So they can wear these pronoun badges that you can choose options such as he, or her, or their, or you can have a little blank space and you can just write down whatever pronoun you would like people to refer to you as, and you can wear that to let people know your specific pronoun.
They said there's others that they have trans allies because they want children who are not gendered, but to be able to say we support them.
Yes, yeah.
So that's what you call brainwashing children.
Yeah.
And
it's peer pressure,
indoctrination.
because they say these are optional badges. But if a student chooses not to wear one, guess what that points them out as to everybody else in the school? Oh, I'm a bigot. I'm homophobic. I'm transphobic. So it's really, it's just trying to put pressure on the children to conform and shape their thinking to the thinking of the day.
It's interesting that this whole gender movement, the transgender, LGBT is actually at the forefront of our entire culture right now in the Western world. And again, I believe it is a sign that God is turning people over to their depraved natures. It's a sign of judgment. I mean, you think about it. You're going to murder 60 million children in their mother's womb in America alone since Roe versus Wade in 1973, which makes what Hitler did at the Holocaust pale in comparison. God's not going to stand by and do nothing. God's going to deal with this culture, and I believe He is.
Yeah, and they said that alongside with the badges comes like respect my pronouns, respect me. By respect, they mean agree with me. Don't say anything about it, or you're going to be a bigot or
because you can respect someone without agreeing with their view. But they won't acknowledge that.
Hey, there's someone here who's from Australia watching, said alien badges too. So we better not discriminate against aliens.
I'm from the future.
Just one point here that I just thought it was really interesting about periods. that everybody should have periods. And it's like,
they're going to be teaching that to primary children, that menstruation must be inclusive of all genders.
yes, when
So
they start having
Not
PMS,
even like basic biology.
yeah, when they start having like headaches, cramps, and PMS, they're gonna forget about being a girl because nobody likes that.
That's pretty good, Gabriella.
You like it?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're out of time for today. So hopefully you can join us again. We'll go live again on Thursday at 2 p.m. And I think that'll be a little bit of a different one because that's during the Answering Atheists conference.
It's during the Answering Atheist conference, and actually I and Dr. Purdom are going to do that from down at the Ark.
So it'll be our first one
So
down
the
at the Ark.
Thursday will be actually
pretty cool.
broadcast from the Ark.
Yeah, so you won't want to miss that episode for
You'll
sure.
actually see the Ark in the background, the way we're setting it up.
That's super cool. Awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't miss that on Thursday at 2 p.m.
God
Thank you.
bless.